This door knock changes everything, and yet even the most fanatic horror fans have never heard of it. Let me explain. When a Stranger Calls Back is something no one asked for or expected, a made-for-television sequel 16 years later to Fred Walton's original horror When a Stranger Calls. To be specific, the sequel is what no one asked for. What they didn't expect is that this made-for-television movie, featuring Fred Walton's return, a brand new protagonist, as well as seasoned familiar faces, is superior in every way and has an opening scene that is genuinely terrifying. You see, the first film told the story of a young babysitter and a man upstairs.
Why haven't you checked the children?
It was known for its iconic opening and classic reveal.
Jill, this is Sergeant Sacker. Listen to me. We've traced the call. It's coming from inside the house.
That feature itself was based on a 1977 short film, The Sitter. Fred Walton returns here with the third incarnation of the same story, with an extended half-hour set piece, a phenomenal opening that teases audience, toying in many ways which are familiar and new, raising the tension, characterisation and the atmosphere. This confident original vision creates distance between the confines of his original 1977 inspiration and 1981 adaptation, yet Fred Walton expands the themes and characters to a new higher level of horror in his writing and direction. In a familiar setup offering the audience a false sense of copycat horror sequel security, a babysitter, this time Joey, is dropped off by her brother to watch over children while the parents are out for dinner, and maybe a movie. A man begins pestering her throughout the night from the front door concerning the auto club, his broken down car, and worries about his wife.
Yes, who is it?
Hi. You don't know me. My car's broken down, and I was wondering if I could come in and use the phone.
You see, the horror of the opening scene soon begins, but in a calm, confident new way, offering Fred Walton's greatest work. He is patient with his direction and storytelling as Joey explores this large unfamiliar house in an unfamiliar neighbourhood. She is the heart of the film and the audience's guide. The thing is, no one seems to have seen this movie. No VHS or DVD release didn't help, I'm sure. No lengthy YouTube video analysis.
You don't live here, do you? You're just a babysitter.
This is the scariest opening that was made for television. There are two specific ways this opening is terrifying. One, the red herrings Fred Walton sets up, relaxing the audience into familiar story beats,
Hi, Julia. Hi. You are saving our lives.
We're late.
only to upend discomfort with terrifying new scares.
They're not home. Nobody else is home on this street. Just you.
There are three of these specifically I will analyse. The second way the opening is terrifying is Fred Walton's use of simple domestic items to build fear. The opening is a pendulum Fred Walton directs. It oscillates between domesticity, inside the house, and danger, the outside. Fred Walton toys with this sustained panic, pushing Joey and the audience to being overwhelmed with uneasiness, only to bring us back each time, just to repeat the process several times throughout the night. Rewatching this opening multiple times, I have realised that if fast forwarded through, nothing really happens. A stranger is at the door repeatedly, while Joey wanders around the house, mostly talking to a door. His car battery's died, she takes details.
Won't they need to know what kind of car it is?
It's a black Chevy Impala, 1983. License number NYZ.
And that's it really. There's no blood, no jump scares, yet it is dripping with atmosphere, underlying tension and suspense. First let's examine the red herrings. There is no phone used this time. Unlike the first film, there is no caller toying with Joey from a potentially faraway distant location, ensuring her safety. This time, he's outside.
Yes, who is it?
Hi.
As scary as those calls in the original were, Joey could also have the presence of the police in her ear for comfort. She could have also had a friend talking about dates. She could be holding the phone tightly like a safety blanket. Going back to her opening scene,
Hello?
Fred Walton deliberately and brilliantly subverts audience expectations with the ringing phone and it seemingly being a wrong number.
I think you have the wrong number.
After a sustained, lingering silence, the audience expect a callback for the horror to commence, just like it did before. But the phone never rings again. We then hear our first knock. He's here. Ironically, the phone was the main object of torment by the killer in the first film. Here, it could have been Joey's only saving grace against the home intruder, but it was sabotaged by the stranger himself. He toys with her. His torment is disguised as authenticity. This inversion with the phone is surprising and brilliant, as despite the title, Joey is the one calling, the stranger never does. The second red herring is the conversations between Joey and the stranger.
Hello?
Did you call them?
Yes, they said they'd be here in about an hour.
An hour? They always say they'll come within 30 minutes. What's going on?
Starting friendly with subtlety and suspense before growing fearful, with an uneasy persistence on his end. The initial conversation is a false sense of security and offers a contrast to the original, where the threat was immediate.
That's what they told me. Maybe it's a busy night or...
Yeah, maybe. Okay, thanks. I appreciate it.
This is more impactful as it heightens anxiety with a false sense of vulnerability and kindness. A concerned, stranded husband that even seems apologetic that he's bothering Joey.
Sorry. Listen, I'm stuck here. Could you do me one more favor and call my wife, tell her what's happened and not to worry? Would you do that, please?
Yet, he never leaves her alone. His tone and delivery then changes, and Fred Walton subverts that sense of domesticity with danger.
I don't think you're alone in this house. Someone's upstairs.
Within their interactions, the young actress's performance is phenomenal. Their acting partner, for the most part, is essentially a white front door. Joey lacks any form of facial expressions, eye contact, awkwardness to work from, yet she tries to powerfully display her own. A confident voice doesn't match the on-edge, insecure swaying, the nervous steps back and forward that the audience see. In terms of tension, the opening is beautiful. A phenomenal dance back and forth that starts with a knock, but soon ends with the intruder's whole presence being in the house. Throughout the entire interaction, Joey and the stranger never see each other. The audience doesn't know who he is. Fred Walton's only tease of the stranger being a POV shot of him walking away in the driveway, revealing a long overcoat. Fred Walton then mixes these two separate worlds of the danger outside the house and the safe domestic large cosy house by leaving signs and subtle clues that he's been in. Doors unlocking, magnets on the fridge moving. The third difference between the sequel and the first film and the final red herring is the setup and expectation of the stranger never being seen. The stranger hides behind the door and is not seen in the same way he hid behind the phone in the first one. The audience feels safe. His voice is scary enough. The thought of putting a face to this voice seems just as distant as it was in the first film, with the closest we got being a shadow. That is until this moment.
Come on out, Julia.
I never told you my name!
The horror feels more personal this time.
Don't stay in there. I'm warning you.
Where are you? What have you done with them?
Look into the living room.
We see him. Fred Walton is going further. Same can be applied to the children. In the first film, we never see them throughout the film. This time, there is a false sense of security as we see them innocently sleeping. This establishes the children with empathy and not just an off-screen plot suggestion. The audience have seen Joey's responsibility. Any danger to them means our protagonist has failed. At the climax of the opening scene, Fred Walton then mirrors the most innocent image he showed us earlier with this.
Have you been upstairs in the last 5 minutes?
Why?
An empty bedroom, sheets in disarray. The implications are more horrific than any screams or gore could ever have been. Joey never had a chance the whole time. The climax here of the children being taken is much more impactful and powerful as we see their absence. We feel their kidnapping. Door knocks, the conversation, the idea that everything was okay, or at least the intrusion was preventable, he was outside the house. It was all broken down as an illusion when we see this shot of the empty children's bedroom. None of these subversions and upending of audience expectations would matter if there was no tension, no build-up to these reveals of the missing children or the phone calls that never were utilised. But there has been a suspenseful, terrifying tension building in the house, with specific simple moments highlighting how intense the stakes are. Joey is upstairs checking on the children as a distinct intrusive noise from downstairs is heard. Distinct unpleasant screeching increases a metallic cry as Joey rushes downstairs only to discover a steaming kettle that she boiled earlier, but it's about to explode, much like the tension. Fred Walton uses this household item to manifest the tension and take us to the edge, but he takes us back. Next time though, he doesn't. Unlocking closed doors and having phone lines down to strike fear. Earlier, Joey took details of the man's car and auto club account.
The name is blah blah blah, black Chevy Impala, blah 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 blah. License plate, blah blah blah, card number, blah blah blah.
She filled them out on a yellow pad page very distinctly. Fred Walton ensured we saw this. The final time the stranger asked Joey to phone the auto club, she walks over to the pad. However, this final time, the score explodes as a simple image of an empty yellow pad proves the page of details has been ripped away. He's here. This proof, this ultimate evidence of horror, is again something so simple but horrific implications. The imagination and subtlety is more terrifying than any explicit details. It was a night of terror, a phenomenal opening scene, and unfortunately, as much as we liked her, Joey lost. The most impressive thing, however, about this extended opening scene is it is only setting up something even greater. It offers a tremendous second and third act, a phenomenal sequel overall. Unlike the first film, which second act cut away from the babysitter, Walton remedies this as we completely follow Joey's characterisation as she struggles at university, traumatised and being toyed with once again by the stranger.
She keeps talking about something that happened 5 years ago. Is there a record on it? Take a few days to get up here, if it exists.
Walton offers a sequel that is one of the most mature character studies of trauma and moving on, way deeper than it has any right to be. We follow Joey's imprisoned self, mentally and physically, living floors up in an apartment, everything sterile, knowing where her small amount of possessions are at every moment.
Every night I go to bed, hoping that tomorrow somehow things are going to be different. That I'm going to be somebody else with a different life. Somebody with friends. A person with a future. Who isn't alone. A person who maybe has someone. And then I wake up.
Julia, Don't let the future close in on you.
A sterile hotel of caution is her life. Walton also reintroduces the babysitter from the first film, Jill. Phenomenal character arc, only this time Jill is older, wiser, and much more offensive than defensive. She is the head of a women's self-defense and safety facility, and more importantly, when all else doubt her, she believes Joy.
She was responsible for those children, and she barely escaped with her own life. I would be willing to bet that her apartment is pretty bare, not cluttered. You would know if a book had been moved. You know exactly how many socks you have in a drawer, how many matches are in the box by the stove. You don't mistake those things, and the terrifying thing is apparently he knows you don't.
She sees herself in her. There is a deep connection and fractured mirror between these two women who are trying to find strength. There is an understanding here. The intruder returns to haunt both women as they finally look for a conclusion and peace. This opening scene sets up a sequel that should have never existed in the first place and has no reason to be as layered or terrifying as it is. Fred Walton took a chance and created a terrifying television opening that sadly but ironically is a stranger living in its theatrically released original shadow. Whether he was on the phone or at the door, I'm glad the stranger called back.